I need to turn this mic on. Thank you very much. For those of you following along at home, I apologize. I wanted to introduce again the very handsome man on the other side who told me that I was not on mic. None other than Brian Wesley Flowers. He is running in the second congressional district of Mississippi. He has a message that is a one powerful one that can change not only the state of Mississippi but also the nation at large. Tonight, Mr. Flowers, there is a part of the nation that is at tremendous unrest. It is Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and once again, uh, the police have been called into a domestic violence situation in which a gentleman who his father says has mental health issues was attempting to threaten the ones that he loved. He was drawn out by the police and they fired upon him 7 times, killing him on the spot. Unfortunately, the court of public opinion took hedge at that particular point, and there has been rioting and looting ever since. And there is a call, underground call, from radical leftists to all go into Philadelphia to continue the hazing and the rioting and the looting. I got to ask you here. I know that Philadelphia's mayor and the governor there have asked for defunding of the police. In addition, Benny Thompson of Mississippi has supported Black Lives Matter, which supports the defunding of police. Is that what you're hearing on the streets of Jackson and Clinton and Vicksburg this particular evening? Is that the residents there want the police to be defunded?
Excuse me. Not as much, especially here in Clinton, where I'm at. There's a lot of support for our police officers, a lot of love for our police officers. There's a lot of people that have back the badge signs in their yard. Um, that message is not resonating at all here. Um, but in some parts of the district, I'm sure that there are, or even in some parts of the state, because you do have the far left that is pushing that message, and some people are falling prey to listening to that. Bottom line is, we need our police. We need them. That, like I said on the first interview that I did with you, the military and the police are no different. One keeps us safe from people coming into this country. One keeps us safe here at home in our communities. So we need the police. I'm not exactly sure what these people think that what's going to happen when they defund the police and we don't have enough money to pay for the police officers to even do their jobs. It's hard enough on them as it is. Most police officers make barely 50,000 a year.
Yeah,
Um, so I mean, you're going to take even more money from them and expect them to put their life on the line. They're not going to do it. So
exactly.
at that point, we get into anarchy, and just communities just go down the drain. And at that point, we lose our America that we love and that we have right now.
The mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, recently stated that we should redirect monies away from the police and towards such things as mental health and affordable housing and other social service supports. Now, is there a place for all of that? And is the place to take the monies from law and order to give it to those social services?
I don't believe so. Like I said before, we need to. The police are dealing with a low budget as it is. We don't need to take the money from the police departments. That just seems to be a hot topic for somebody to point blame at right now. Um, we have kind of referring to what you were talking about in that's going on in the Midwest right now with even up in Philadelphia with all the rioting and things like that.
Yes.
You know that just seems that we have certain groups that are going in and fanning these flames of unrest just to stir up trouble, and now they're pointing the finger. Well, we need to take away the money for the police. That's not the answer. There are other ways of getting the money for these different groups that don't involve our public safety. You can take them from other different areas, whether it be other social programs or things like that to kind of divvy up the funding. But you don't take it from our public safety. I'm sorry, that's just idiotic.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Mr. Flowers, you know that the cities have come together recently and asked Nancy Pelosi to bail them out. Chicago, New York, Washington, most of the major cities around the country have asked for a bailout, and that has impeded the COVID-19 stimulus dollars from coming out of the House of Representatives and the Senate. Would you be supportive of bailing out the big cities at the expense of Jackson, Mississippi, Clinton, and other cities that are make up your congressional district?
Absolutely not. They are a Democratic-run state. Senate, excuse me, the state and the cities are democratically run. Um, I'm sorry, they put themselves in this position by basically encouraging people to get out and riot. Protesting is one thing. Let me be clear.
Yes.
Protesting is one thing. You are given that right by the First Amendment. But the first time that the first punch, the first brick is thrown, the first fire is set, you have now stopped protesting, and you are now a criminal. And these groups are encouraging people to go into these cities and burn them to the ground. And what I don't understand is you have groups like Black Lives Matter. Well, excuse me, let me rephrase. It's BLM. I don't consider, I don't even want to acknowledge that, but
Yeah.
you have groups like BLM that are going into these cities and they're encouraging people to burn this stuff down, and you're supposed to, they're burning down the black community's businesses, destroying the black community's homes, businesses, and their way of life. How, if you say Black Lives Matter, how is it that you go into these cities and burn down the black community's businesses, their homes, and their ways of life? I'm still waiting to find out how they can say that Black Lives Matter when they go and destroy their communities.
Exactly.
Um, but as far as the paying for their mistakes, no, they got themselves into this. They can get themselves out because, like you said before, they were busing these people in, trying to get started more riots and things like that. No, we work hard for our money. I work hard for mine. My neighbors work hard for theirs. It stops. People need to learn the word no. We're
Wow.
not going to be paying for to get to fund to rebuild all their places when they're the ones that caused it. I'm sorry. I mean, again, I'm not going to pay for somebody else's mistake.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And after years, 50, 60 years of bad management by the Democrats of the major cities to ask Nancy Pelosi for bailout money, she knows that Donald Trump and the Republican Senate's not going to offer it. It's good to know that when you come to Congress, you wouldn't offer it either. In addition to that, one of the biggest problems, not just because of COVID-19, but this has been the place since Benny Thompson has been in office, is the lack of jobs in and around the congressional second district. I mean, Gulfport, Mississippi, and other areas of the Mississippi region have done extremely well with trade and with transportation and other forms of business development. But it seems like Jackson, Mississippi hasn't changed since 1960. So I got to ask you, what would you do to help improve jobs coming to your congressional district?
Well, see, okay, Ken, this is Jobs are one of my talking points as far as what I'm bringing to the table, because that seems to be right on the tip of everybody's tongue. Hey, well, we need jobs.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I'll give you an example. Cleveland, Mississippi, used to have 6 manufacturing plants. They are down to one, and it's barely hanging on.
Wow.
So, you know, you have to get these jobs to come back. We need to get our infrastructure back up. We need to
Yes.
get their education back to where it needs to be, because these companies aren't going to bring in these corporations and these manufacturing plants and expect their workers to send their children to substandard schooling systems. So we need to get our infrastructure back up. We need to get our education back up, and that's when we can start bringing in these jobs. Most of it has to be done almost simultaneously, which is extremely difficult to do.
Yes.
And here's the problem that everybody needs to understand. Benny Thompson has had 27 years to run this district into the ground.
Yes.
It's not going to be a quick fix. It's going to take a minute. And that's where, once we can get him out, I can start the job of rebuilding this district, and we can do this and rebuild this district together. But everybody needs to look around at what they have, and then they need to ask themselves, was I better 4 years ago
Yeah.
than I am today? Because here's the bottom line. President Trump has done more for the black community than almost any other president has ever. Um, I mean, Obama had 8 years in office, and he didn't even do a fraction of what President Trump has done. And I'll tell you that right now. I'll support President Trump any day of the week. And like you were saying earlier, the black community had approval rating with the black community is up in the upper 40s as
Yes.
far as the percentage goes. So, a lot of people are realizing that President Trump is here to help. They're not listening to what the Democratic Party is telling them anymore. But kind of getting back to what you were saying, though, is we need to get our manufacturing plants back in.
Yeah.
I want to see processing plants, especially in the Delta, being popped up throughout the Delta, so the farmers can bring their crop closer to the farms, so they don't have to pay all that money for shipping costs just to get their crops to the processing plant. Uh, I was in Cleveland just this past weekend, and
Yes.
I went down to the port down there. The we were talking. We are, on our way to the port. We were actually talking about the different farming, the technology that the farmers have actually gotten, and how far technology has advanced as far as like GPS and stuff like inside the tractors. Uh, they have onboard computers that tells the dispensers on how much fertilizer to release in a certain area of the field, things like that. We
Yeah.
get down to the port, there are trucks lined up all up and down there waiting to drop their grain off.
Mm.
The farmers are producing more than the ports can get out. I was sitting there watching the trucks come in. They were dumping rice into the bin, into the hopper to feed it into a barge so it could be loaded up and gotten out. Like I said, they had trucks waiting in line. They have obsolete equipment that needs to be upgraded so it can move more efficiently. It's not so much, it. The jobs are one thing, but what jobs we do have here, they need to be brought up to speed and made more efficient.
Wow.
So, I mean, there's a lot of work that still needs to go on down here. I
You
mean, President Trump said he wants to bring pharmaceutical plants back to the United States. Let's build one down here in right outside of Port Gibson or somewhere else in the district. That's
you
going to add more jobs.
see that's the type of innovative thinking that Benny Thompson doesn't show or hasn't shown or won't ever show. When you think of the transportation system, you got I-20 flowing right through. You have all of these interstates. Mississippi, with the Mississippi River on its edge, should be one of the most explosive and dynamic economic places in the country. On the other side, on the eastern side of Mississippi, you got Alabama, and the governor there has been showing lower taxes, fewer regulations, and they've recruited auto companies from around the world. Mississippi needs to be able to do the same thing. Do you believe and would you support when Donald Trump gets back in office a tax cut for the middle class?
Of course. Because right now I'm middle class. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I work for a living. I'm raising. I work for a family of five. To support a family of five, I got three beautiful little girls.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, of course. I mean, a lot of people are in the. They're hurting right now for money. One, because the COVID may have separated them from a job temporarily or what have you. So, I mean, there are a lot of people that are still in need of financial assistance. So, and that's something President Trump has given, and I am glad to see somebody in Washington actually standing up, for the middle class.
You know, a lot of Americans don't understand that Donald Trump would have been able to get out $1,200 per person again just a few weeks ago. But Nancy Pelosi controlled the House. And the reason why she controlled the House is because we didn't send enough Republicans there to overthrow the guard, the anti American guard that's in the House of Representatives. When you think of Brian Flowers, you think of someone that could go to Washington on behalf of the people of the second congressional district and finally bring something home. What exactly is your message? What is your vision for how America will be, for Mississippi will be, after you've gone to Congress?
Well, first of all, we need to get this nonsense of uh, defunding the police out of our heads. We need to increase the police forces, uh, so they have and give them the proper tools uh, to do what they need to do to protect our communities. That's first and foremost. We already talked about we talked about the jobs that we need to be bringing in. We need to. There's a lot of different things that need to happen at the same time. The tax cuts, the different jobs being brought in, the police force. But it's going to take. This is what is key. It's going to take all of us coming together and working as a team. One
Yeah.
team, one fight. Because here's the bottom line. It's not me versus Joe. It's not me versus Pam. It's not me versus. It's all of us. We all are here. We all need to do everything we can to make this country better. And that's something that I want to do when I get to Congress is I want to make good common sense decisions that is going to be beneficial for not just my district but my state as well. And regarding infrastructure, one, that's not going to be just my district. It's not going to be for my state. It's going to be for the whole United States. It's going to be for all of us. This whole mess that they keep putting up there right now, and they keep saying, well, we've got a whole graveyard of bills sitting waiting in the Senate that are just sitting there and they haven't looked at them. Well, guess what? They got all kinds of crap in them.
Yeah.
A bunch of fluff and everything else inside these bills. You got 4 or 5 bills inside of one infrastructure. They had the Green New Deal crammed full in that thing. Nobody, the people want simple bills. Give me infrastructure, vote on it, get it out the door. Give me if they want a Green New Deal, put the Green New Deal up there, vote on it. If it doesn't pass, kick it back to the side until they can make revisions to where it can. If it can't, well, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But we need to move things through in a more efficient manner. Again, Congress has a 23% approval rating right now. There is a reason, and it's these politicians that are up there right now that all they do argue, 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 argue. They take a small break. They come home. They get reelected. They go back to D.C. and all they do is sit there argue, 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 and nothing ever gets done. Guess who suffers? Me and you
Yeah.
and the rest of the American people. And quite frankly, everyone is tired of it. It's time that we have a change, and That's how America moves forward. It's not a progressive. It's not. No, we need to work as a team. We need to quit pointing the finger, saying, "Well, the Republicans," or "No, the Democrats." Oh, the stop. It's a bunch of nonsense that needs to stop. We need to all go up there, be on the same page, and actually have debates instead of yelling across the aisle like a bunch of buffoons, and not getting anything done because the American people are sick of it.
You speak well for the American people, uh, those who don't command the attentions of the New York or Chicago or Atlanta or even DC media. Uh, Quite frankly, often maliciously overlooked by the left, and certainly have been forgotten by even those people that they voted into office, like Benny Thompson. In closing here, a lot of people say, you know what, I like what Brian is saying. I wish I could get behind him, but I don't think anybody would support him. Do you have any proof that people support your campaign, sir?
I do. We've ran a couple polls. We are within striking distance of upsetting this district and flipping this seat. Um, about We ran a poll that did a sampling of the district, and right now, like I said, it is just a sampling. But before it was, I was holding Benny Thompson 2-1 on the African American vote. I was holding 75% on the white community vote. So those numbers are going to be going up, especially since, like you were just speaking before I actually came on, I was sitting there listening to you. You were talking about Joe Biden's son, and all the different text messages and videos and things like that with borderline pedophilia. Um, Basically, there's a lot of people running away, and yet Benny Thompson is sitting there in multiple pictures hugging up on Joe Biden.
Yeah,
And do we really want somebody that is going to support somebody like that, like Joe Biden and his family, as corrupt as it is? Not to mention how corrupt Benny Thompson actually is.
yes. Now, also, you told me earlier that the veterans had come together in support of you. I think that is a great, great endorsement. Can you tell us more about that?
I actually got this in the mail. What was it, Monday afternoon? And this is from the National Vietnam and Gulf War Veterans Coalition. They have they went on their board and took a vote, and they have endorsed me for the House of Representatives.
Wow.
And I'm going to be putting that out to the press here in the next day, as soon as I can get it put together and get the press release out. But they have come together and voted and endorsed me. And these aren't politicians.
Yes.
These are these are my military veteran brothers and sisters that have looked at my service, looked at what I stand for, and have said, "Yep, that's who we want up in D.C. We want somebody that is ready to fight, that is not going to back down from a challenge, and is ready to fight for the people." And that's what they're about. They're not wanting somebody that's going to go up there and not have a backbone. And I'm
Yes.
sorry, a lot of our politicians, that's what they don't have, is a backbone. Somebody pushes on them, they okay,
Yeah.
but that's it. You know, you need somebody that's going to be ready to stand face to face, toe to toe, just like I'm going against Benny Thompson. I'm not backing down, and I'm not going to back down from anybody in D.C. But that's what these guys right here are wanting. You look at our VA system; that needs a complete overhaul. And
Yes.
these guys are looking at what I'm saying and what I'm standing for, saying, "Yep, that's exactly what we need. We need somebody to go up there and is going to fight for us."
There you go. Listen, people love during a football season, a college football season, the football teams that score a whole lot of points, 70, 80, 90 points with a whole lot of flash. but it's the ones that smash mouth football that win collegiate titles. Whether it be Auburn, Alabama, Mississippi, it doesn't matter. Those teams that are able to grit it through, get on the goal line and score, and hold other teams back are the winning teams. This man represents that type of style of smash mouth politics. We're not going to be pretty in speech, but we will be successful in legislature. That man right there, Brian Wesley Flowers. You can flip the second congressional district. I'm going to encourage that you send donations, that you have endorsements. Send them now. Help him get on the air, television as well as radio down in the second congressional district. Let people know in the second congressional district what's happening with the corrupt Joe Biden family, and which includes Kamala Harris, and that they have a real choice, not just one of those orators like Benny Thompson who talk a lot but achieve nothing, but someone who can actually stand up for the people in the second congressional district. We love you, we appreciate you, and we thank you so much for being with us here tonight. Brian, how can people support your campaign?
They can go to my website at www.flowersforcongress.com. There is a Anodot website on there. They can click on that. It'll take them to a separate screen. It's a secure way of giving and donating to the campaign. Also, they can go to Facebook and catch me there at Brian Flowers for Congress. They'll be able to see all the posts that I've done, the videos that I've done, and it will also scroll down through there. You'll also see the Anodot website that you can go to make a donation. If anybody would like to mail an endorsement, they can send it to my campaign headquarters at 127 Marion Drive, Clinton, Mississippi 39056. If anybody has any questions, they can always get on Facebook and send me a Facebook Messenger request, and I always get back to people. It may take me a day or two. I am still working a 40-hour week, plus running a campaign and taking care of a family of 5. So I got my hands full a little bit, but I will answer you back and give you answer any questions that you may have.
You know, when you think about politics as it originally started in our country, Brian represents exactly what our founding fathers wanted to send to the House of Representatives. Someone who had a family, someone who understood what the common man was going through, wasn't going to spend a whole lot of time at the Kennedy Center hobnobbing, but really just wanted to go home back to their families. That meant that they were going to work hard, get things done, get a budget passed, get up and out of Congress and come home. Congress was not intended to be a new industry. Brian
No.
Wesley Flowers is a remembrance of what our founding fathers want in Washington, and I hope also what you want in Washington, America. Support Brian Wesley Flowers. Do it today. Brian, thank you so much. God bless you. You keep up the hard work, brother. We'll be in contact very soon.
Thanks, Ken. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right. Brian Wesley Flowers, ladies and gentlemen, there is hope in America, and you might find it in Clinton, Mississippi. Listen, we'll be back with more of the best. We'll be talking a little bit later on with another hopeful out in the 45th Congressional District of California, IA, Greg Rath, coming up, and we got to do the coverage of the riots that are right now going on in Philadelphia, IA. We will be right back with more of the best in urban conservative talk right after this message.